We have a lot of interesting stories to go over today concerning Charlotte Flair, Roman Reigns, and much more. So we'll get into all these topics and break down the latest rumors and reports. WWE has had it quite rough this year. They're obviously not able to travel the country for their shows right now, and they have a lot of superstars heading out of the WWE. WWE lost a lot of talent this year for a lot of different reasons. We saw some superstars leave because they didn't feel comfortable at the Performance Center. We've seen injuries, we've seen early retirements, we've seen superstars step away because of pregnancies. We've even seen a handful of WWE superstars head over to AEW as well. So WWE has definitely lost a lot of talent, just looking back at the first half of the year. One of the most recent WWE superstars that went out of action recently was Charlotte. The news and rumors around Charlotte Flair's absence have been all over the place. Let's take a look back at the latest reports ever since Charlotte Flair went out with an injury. Reports first claimed that she would be out for 6 weeks. Another report came right after that and said it would be more like 6 months, meaning that Charlotte would be gone until 2021. The story picked back up again after that with Charlotte Flair addressing the rumors herself, saying that it would only be a couple of weeks. That's where we last left off with this story. But now, we have another unfortunate twist to Charlotte Flair and her return situation. Charlotte Flair took to Twitter once again and updated the fans and opened up about what's going on with her. Charlotte shared this story on Twitter. Picture it, Charlotte, North Carolina, 2018. A young queen, shortly after a career-defining Wrestlemania victory, finds herself sicker than sick at her brother's house. A trip to the doctor tells us the likely culprit is silicone poisoning, and that my implant had been leaking for quite some time. It was one of the worst cases the doctor had ever seen. At that time, I had a few options to fix the issue. Each option had a specific recovery time. I love this job more than anything, so I picked the option that allowed me to return the soonest. That was a choice I made. Fast forward to a few months ago, something felt off, so I went back to the doctor. Same issue again. This time, I'm going with an option that I believe will solve the issue long time, even though the recovery period is a little longer than I would like. To clarify, I do not have silicone poisoning this time. The surgery is cosmetic to fix an issue from a prior surgery. I'll be back when I'm ready. The body will be rested, and the mind still focused on legacy. Focus on the job. Focus on getting better. Always getting better. So finally, the rumors are put to rest, and we finally know what's going on straight from Charlotte herself. That's quite the personal story, and really shows just how passionate Charlotte is about the WWE and her career. She had a horrible, serious issue going on with herself in 2018, and decided to just take the quick patch-up route because she wanted to get back to her job and didn't want to miss much time. Unfortunately, like Charlotte explained, that decision has come back to haunt her, and she finally realized that she has to go through with a more detailed surgery so that she will be perfectly fine going forward. It's the right move for Charlotte to finally put herself first and get her body truly right before she heads back to WWE. Her health is a million times more important than just rushing back to the WWE with a little patch-up like she did in 2018. Charlotte has announced that she went with the outcome that had the longest recovery period. She didn't get into much detail about what the long recovery period actually is, but just speculating and guessing, I think we're leaning towards that 6-month recovery period right now. Nothing confirmed, but just telling by Charlotte's tone in the messages, it's going to be a long recovery period. So I'm starting to think that the 6 months rumor from a couple of weeks ago might actually be true after all, meaning that Charlotte being out for the rest of 2020 is actually a realistic possibility now, which is unfortunate and heartbreaking. But you gotta remember that Charlotte's health and body comes before anything else. It's not worth it to rush back in a few weeks only for a bigger issue to pop up a few weeks after that. Charlotte is making the right decision by putting herself first before her job. It's obviously going to be a long recovery, and it will really be hard for Charlotte to be away from her passion for that long. But it's what has to be done for her current health and her future health. WWE also recently celebrated 5 years of the Women's Revolution this week. It was 5 years ago that we finally saw the debuts of Sasha Banks, Becky Lynch, and Charlotte Flair. The division had taken off a lot, mostly due to these three women right there. So Charlotte and the other women have been going non-stop for the WWE over the past 5 years. So Charlotte has definitely earned this break. Charlotte obviously wants to be wrestling right now, but the break will be a good thing for her. She'll get to rest her body, rest her mind, and come back refreshed and ready to pick up where she has left off. We wish Charlotte Flair a speedy and safe recovery. We can't wait to see her back in the ring when she's finally healthy and ready to go. This is a great time to remind you to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. A large percentage of our viewers still aren't subscribed to the channel, so take a second to click that subscribe button if you enjoy what you see. Let's get back into it. Speaking of superstars that are constantly in the headlines, we have another update on Roman Reigns and his return situation as well. Like we mentioned at the start, it's been a rough year for WWE. They're heading towards their second biggest show of the year, SummerSlam, and their roster has lost a lot of talent. They lost Becky Lynch, Charlotte, Edge, obviously Roman Reigns, and so much more talent that were supposed to play a big role in SummerSlam. This brings up Roman Reigns and his SummerSlam status. Back around April, rumors claimed that WWE was still looking at SummerSlam to take place in Boston. But here we are in current day, a few weeks before SummerSlam, and that obviously isn't happening. WWE was reportedly set on having SummerSlam go on in front of a normal crowd, but that's no longer an option for them. SummerSlam will take place in the Performance Center, but reports claim that WWE still wants it to be a huge show. Some of the matches that are already being rumored for the show is Sasha Banks vs. Bayley and The Fiend Bray Wyatt vs. Braun Strowman, but nothing has been truly confirmed. The latest reports claim that unless a big drastic change happens in the next few weeks, WWE has no plans for Roman Reigns at SummerSlam. Considering the fact that things are still horrible in Florida, it doesn't look like that drastic change even has a chance of happening. I feel real safe in saying that Roman Reigns will not be appearing at SummerSlam. There's just not a chance at all. I'm sticking with my original prediction. I just can't see Roman Reigns coming back under these conditions at all right now. At the earliest, I would say maybe like mid-2021. That's the only thing that makes sense and will possibly be more safe by then. It's just too early to tell. WWE obviously mishandled the situation at the Performance Center at the very start. Plus the condition that Florida is in, there's just no way a Roman walks into that building. Kevin Owens recently opened up to Sports Illustrated on just how careless things were backstage. Kevin Owens had this to say during that interview. "It's everywhere. We thought it was the right time to quarantine and practice safe guidelines. Last week, I saw the measures that the company was taking, from the testing to the splitting up the crews to make sure that Raw and Smackdown wouldn't be there the same day, and sending out very clear indications that masks were required unless we were in the ring. A big part of this is my wife. She saw the efforts the company made as well, and she said that maybe it was time for me to go back to work because it's what I love to do. The company depends on me, and there are a lot of fans that look forward to seeing me on TV every week. So we're just trying to juggle everything. The family being safe, of course, but I also want to contribute to the shows. With her blessing, I went back, and what I observed gave me hope and gave me a sense of security. It's been brought up, at first, the masks weren't being taken serious enough. Eventually, a fine system was implemented to make sure people took it seriously. That came from me. I thought the masks weren't being worn seriously enough. So I went and talked to the people in charge. They immediately did what they could to remedy the situation. I don't blame anybody for the mask thing. But if we're all going to work together and we're all going to try to keep each other safe, I think it matters. If you had somebody in your family affected by this, the way my family was, it's a lot easier to remember that these masks make a huge difference. I was pleased that the company felt the same way and made sure to get that message out to everybody that this is a big deal. That's why, in the end, I decided to come back. I feel comfortable going back to work, and I feel as safe as I can be there. Another report claims that Kevin Owens stepped to Mr. McMahon in early July and told him that he will be staying home. That's when Mr. McMahon and higher-ups asked Kevin Owens what they should do, and that's when Kevin Owens came up with a mandatory mask idea. So it's quite sad that WWE higher-ups couldn't figure this out on their own, and had to wait for a superstar to bring it up. But we're just grateful Kevin Owens stepped in there and played a role in making the Performance Center more safe. Now the rule is clear. If you're not on camera or not in the ring, you must wear a mask or get fined. So that's a great story and move by Kevin Owens, but I don't think it's enough to get Roman Reigns back. One thing we do know for sure is that WWE is not counting on Roman Reigns for SummerSlam. What are your thoughts on these stories? Leave your comments, don't forget to subscribe, and leave a like if you enjoyed. Thanks for watching, guys.